Hi all. Right, back there. An Allied Impulse. I'm going to play a 7 core card. I mean, yeah, it'd be nice to um, have the division card for them, but there's no guarantees that that's going to be in our draw pile anyway. So can't even recall if it might have been there yesterday or not. That's not something I keep track of very well. Okay, so I'm going to deploy them. Initially, I thought in this hex here, they need to be within 3 a unit in the same core, and also 3 away from a German unit on a supply road. That's in supply. But I thought maybe this hex, so I've got a movement of 1, 2, 3, I can get something in here. The only thing is, I can't reach Liège if I'm in here, whereas if I'm in here, I can reach Liège. Well, I could reach it with a strategic movement, but the worry is if these do break into here, then I can't strategically move into Liège. So, and they're all going to have to come into the same hex because they're all from the same division, 84th division. So, I'm pretty sure that's the best place. I don't think I need to worry about down here. Not well. The 47 do have a big presence, but I think I've got enough units to hold them off. So plus they still need to be within 3 of this unit, for instance. So I don't think I can get them further south anyway, even if I wanted to. So which hex is it going to be, Grant? Okay, I'm going to go for this hex. I think reaching Liège with the normal movement is probably more important. And I don't think it's necessary to get something into here now as well. I mean, if I activate this core again, I could always go out and in if I felt like that was a hex. What I did look at there though was the possibility. What was worrying me was the infiltration move. You know, coming across. Well, mechanised units can't infiltrate across a river, so they're both mechanised. And the infiltration move needs to be carried out by a non-bracketed unit, and both these infantry units are bracketed, so they can't infiltrate across that river with what they've got there. So so that makes me feel a bit more comfortable about that, because and if they could have, I think I might have put these units here, because then that does, well, maybe not though, because I do need to activate them again. Like I've just said, I could go out and in if I was worried about, that hex. Right, okay. So I'll go with that, and that's basically all I'm doing. Another quick impulse again. Right, we used 2 combat tactics in the last German impulse there, with the 2 combats, so we've only got 3 cards left in our hand, so I'm going to draw 3 more, so I'll show you what they are before we cut back to the Germans. So here we go. Okay, got the 3rd core card, good. Yeah, it's got air power, that figures. But obviously we've got this stack of reserves. There's a core artillery back again, and 12 core. Yeah, not really fussed about that one. Well, we've got both the 12 core primary and supplemental cards, so yeah, maybe be able to use them for combat tactics, maybe one of them. And I don't really see the need to be doing any of them yet. We get some more of their reserves the next day, another infantry division, but okay. Right, well that's impulse over, that's my new hand, so yeah, let's bash on and get a German impulse. Okay, let's see what I've got first next. That's 67 core, that's the red guys way up the top. And it's the first SS card, but just the division card. And remember, we're still not looking at any fuel. They have no fuel issues again this day. I'll need to remember from the next tomorrow to keep an eye out for that. I'll probably just skip by them and forget all about it, because they've just had the fuel markers. Okay, so no primary card, but this is This has got a command value 2, so it's a command card. This is a support card. There is no event on the support card, so we are going to, the special's not applicable. Oh, okay, this is a supplemental card, of course, so it's going to try and assign 1 replacement point. I don't think there is one. Give me a sec, I'm going to have a look. No, they're all at full strength. We've got the 3 infantry units here, and the 2, well, the mechanised and the armoured units underneath, but all full strength. So we're going to skip on to activate the units in the core then. So that's interesting. They lost their what do you call it? Core objective marker now, so they're just following the army objective marker. Just wondering how they got. Well, I suppose they're mechanised. That must have been the reason why they just scooted on along there, didn't they? Well, anyway, I don't think nothing was brought up to say that I'd done something wrong there. Just wonder why. I mean, obviously, you know, if they get moving via arrows and they extend it as well, they can go quite a distance. Right. Okay. Let's look at the activation of 67 core. Okay, so no roadblocks adjacent to any of the units. Their army objective marker is in its final, well, it's in its 3rd position, so it needs to be reached. That's just where we deployed the reserves actually. So that doesn't move. So on to the movement now. So let's have a look. Okay, just got all the way to movement methods 10 to 13, to be honest. So select the number 1. Movement arrows, he would go up that way, so he can't do that. So move closer to army objective. I get the feeling these 2 first SS units done something similar. So you can go 1, 2, 3 into here. That hex looks like it's full. So hang on. Yeah, so he's 6 away from his army objective there. If he was in here or here, he'd be 5 away. And this is a bit. You can't. This hex is full. This would be 5 away as well, but it's full. So 1, 2, 3, and that would be 3 movement to get into there. So he can't do that. So yeah, so it's either that hex or that hex. And it's a simple case of that one's slightly more west than that one, so I think he's going to move into there. Now obviously, well, I can't cross there anyway, but that hex is full, but I couldn't, remember that's an unbridged river, so you're only allowed 1 cross. Now, I could cross the unbridged river into here, because that's a different hex side. I think that's where this unit's going to go. Whether he does it that way, or he goes round 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So either or, he's going to move into here, and that's 1 hex closer to his army objective. Now there was no option of them trying to get adjacent to an allied unit there. I say there's kind of the backlog of traffic here, isn't there? The 2nd SS units are holding that hex full, so an awful lot we can do about that. So at least that's him across the river anyway, but it's going to take a bit of time for them to manoeuvre into position, and I think obviously they really want the 2nd SS maybe to activate to maybe have a go at that infantry unit, but anyway, we'll see. Okay, so back here again, this is unit number 4, so he can more than likely go via arrows. So primary for 1, 2, 3, and then extend 1, 2 into what was it? Very yeah. So I think so. So 1, 2, 3, leaving a detachment here, and then extending it 2 more into the town, leaving a detachment there as well. So 2, and then unit number 5. Going to do the same, isn't it? And they're all going to do the same. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. He's not leaving any detachments. And this guy, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 extends it into there, leaving a detachment here. So, and I don't think there's any restrictions. They've broke any restrictions there. In this town here, Allied supply is not traceable. As long as we've got Verviers, everything to the east of that is fine. And Allied supply can be traced through anywhere here or here. So I think that's all good. Yeah, so they've made a bit of a move at least. Interestingly though, they're following the path across this side again, whereas it's all kind of backlogged, but that's some force now over there. If there was more space for them to get round about Liège, that would be kind of dangerous, but I think because of where it's placed, it's going to be difficult for them to get all into place, but we still need to keep an eye on it anyway, that's for sure. Right, okay, so all the units did something. No, there was no reserves, by the way. Oh yeah, I forget, we've got a support card, haven't we? And none of the units have finished adjacent to an allied unit, so let's say they all made a move, so they're not building IPs or go back to reserves. Yeah, so I think that's that impulse over. Okay, so the support card, yeah, didn't really look at it when I drew it. I knew it was a division card, but it's quite a strong division card because it's the 1st SS and the 12th SS. So 6 units in total, all pretty strong elite units. The 1st SS are elite, the 12th are not. So scattered about a little bit. 12th SS unit here, here and here. And then 1st SS is here, here, and the Piper unit is back just on the edge of the camera there. Okay, so again, there's no reserves, there's no support card this time, there's no roadblocks adjacent to any of them, and our objective marker is going to stay where it is again. So let's have a look and see if any of them can break through a little bit. I remember what I was talking about, the worry about the infiltration move, but they can't infiltrate into here, so that's good. Just as well we did get that unit placed there because they would definitely have moved across there adjacent to the Meuse. So. Okay, the first move, unfortunately I feel it's the Piper unit again. Movement method 3, cause surround. And he is still holding these guys surrounded by exerting a zone of control into this hex. There's none of the other units, remember this is a bracket unit, so it doesn't exert zone of control into there. And although this infantry unit is exerting zone of control here, here, and this is going here, and this is blocking that hex, he is exerting zone of control in that hex, so he is still causing that unit to be surrounded, but then he's not adjacent. So German unit already causing an allied unit to be surrounded, but there's not in a hex adjacent, moves adjacent if possible. So again, it's this loop that seems to be going back and forward quite a bit now. It's maybe coming up more than well, I mean, John Butterfield did comment on it that it was just one of the unfortunate things, and like I think I said before, there's a lot built into this AI, and to try and fix something like that, and it's not that it's completely broken. The unit's still doing something. I mean, again, this time, like we say, like I think I said before, this is an isolated unit, so there's a good chance that this will be attacked, even with a Piper unit on its own. It might just have a go, So yeah, so it can move into the town, or it can move into here. In actual fact, it could actually get round to these because this. I don't think isolate doesn't exert zone of control, does it? No. So I suppose in actual fact it might be able to get round to one of these empty hexes. But this is an empty hex, not across the river, and this is an empty hex, not across the river. So it wants to be in either one of the two. They're both the same distance from their army objective, but this is west on the compass direction, so I think he's going to jump across the river here. Into there. Leaving a detachment there. Oh, and while we're talking about leaving detachments, I just noticed, just as I was uploading that last video, I just watched the last wee bit that I'd made and missed the detachment down. I'll zoom out around so I can. When I eventually fixed my advance after combat, advanced both, well, it was one of the units out of there and left the sites empty, so he should have got a detachment. I didn't make a comment right at the beginning, I've just added it to the beginning of the YouTube comments, so another mistake. After fixing the mistakes, another wee mistake. Okay, so detachments left there from the Piper unit, and I don't believe there's any issues with moving away. It's not as if supply can be traced up this way. No. Okay, so like I say, it's maybe a little bit unfortunate, but you never know. He's going to have a combat here. Although these units aren't active, he could draw Assault Coordination as a combat tactic and give him some extra. But I think because the units are isolated, he goes ahead with the attack because I don't think he can take any hits. You ignore all the 8 hits, so it's probably still going to happen. So yeah, I think that's the first move. So hopefully that's right. Okay, there's no infantry in these divisions activating. They're all mechanised units, so we can skip right on to 10 to 13. So this is unit number 2, the first one to check. These arrows are down this way if there's a bridge, but because he's the 6th Panzer Army, it's back up that way, so he's not going to be able to do his arrow movement. And he can't get closer to his army objective. His army objective's in here. He's 4 away. Even getting into this hex is still 1, 2, 3, 4 away. He can come round to, I think, here, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 away. So, and here's 1, 2, 3. It can't get to 3 away that I can see. So yeah, so he's not going to do. He can't infiltrate. He's already adjacent to the allied unit, so he's going to stay there. Okay, so next one's unit number 3. Move up a little bit. Unit number 3, right. Wait to have a look and see where the arrows are, just in case. Yeah, there's no arrows in that hex, so move closer to his army objective. Well, certainly I could move into this hex. Now, there's no road out of that hex as well, so and it's into Woods hex here, so it's 3 into there, it's 3 into there. Both the hexes, that's as far as he could go, and it'd be 3 into there to get on this road, which doesn't really help. So it could be 5 to get in there, but that's a fully stacked hex. So I think between these two hexes now, and this hex would be moving adjacent to an allied unit, so looking for the 3 to 1 advantage. Well, actually, yeah, because that's a full stack of units. So, however, yeah, I mean, I suppose that's where he would want to go for that reason. So we should just take it for that. I mean, this is western in the compass direction to this, so there's 2 reasons to move there. So, yeah, he's going to straight up just move there for the 3 movement, and that'll be him. So unit number 4's the one that's adjacent to the river here. So arrows are probably up that way, aren't they? So you can't do that. We're going for zone of control, zone of control. That hex is full now as well. And I don't think he's going to be able to get closer to his army objective. So this is the one that I thought there wasn't a river there that you would want to he would. Well, actually, does it need to be an active unit? Because the unit he's stacked with isn't active, is it? I think that's maybe a requirement, isn't it? Yeah, one other active non-bracketed unit. However, like I said, mechanised units can't infiltrate across rivers, or into forests. So he wouldn't be able to do that, and he's already adjacent to an allied unit. So that's him done. Unit number 5 is in here. Now, arrows wise is back this way, so that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. But he couldn't move into there, and we know that they can't move, so he's not going to do an arrow move. Okay, so close to his army objective, he'd only be able to go 3 into here. That would stop him. The road goes that way, but you can actually go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and get into this hex, which is the same distance. It's 1 hex closer to his army objective, so is this hex, but this one's west in the compass direction, so I think that's the one he would go to. He can't get adjacent to an allied unit that I can see. It's 3, this is a forest hex, so yeah, he's not got the movement to get into that hex, whereas ideally that's where he would want to go. That's also closer to his army objective as well, but I don't think, because the road goes up the other way, doesn't it? Yeah. So I think the move's going to go 1, 2, right, leaving a detachment here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll leave a detachment there as well. So that's 1 hex closer to his army objective, and like I say, it shares the same distance as that one, but this is western on the compass, which is what his army objective is. Okay, and there should be one more, shouldn't there? Yeah, okay, the last one's up here. He was reduced. Selector number 26. Well, his arrows are that way. That's not any good. I didn't think he was going to be able to get close to his army objective, but he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 away there. And if he comes 1, 2, 3, 4 into that hex, he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away. So I think he's going to do that. Now he is holding this hex because this hex is relevant, but we've got these other 67 core units as well, because ally supply can still come in from that hex. But they're holding the hex zone of controlled anyway, so we can safely move that guy. Right, here's on his reduced side. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, and there, yeah. Yeah. Okay, I think that's good. Now, any checks to consider then? Well, this guy's a 2. We don't have any reserves, and we don't have any support cards, so there's no assault coordination to consider. So this is just 5 against 6, isn't it? In fact, it's across the river as well, isn't it? So it's not even that. It's 2 against 6. 2 against 7. It's not happening. Unit number 3, further up. Now, he's only on his own. Again, there's no other cards to support. It's coming across a river. It's into a city. So it's 2 against 6, 7 probably as well. So that's not going to happen. Unit number 4 here is again only on his own, just because it's just that the 2 divisions. So he's 2 going across the river, he's 2 against 3, so he's just missing out as well. So I think the only one that will happen will be the Piper unit actually. So let's double check, have a look at how this works against isolated units. Yeah, it's just got an exception to the German attack determination right at the bottom of 9.5. Yeah, before it goes on to situational strength ratio. It says the exception, if all defending units of the attack are isolated, immediately conduct the attack. So yeah, we're just going to go for this. All German units, yeah, but I mean it's just the Piper himself, so that's all that's going to happen. But he's going to attack, so he's going to draw a combat tactic, and we're going to see what's what. So let's draw that. Okay, it's second SS again. Well, it's going to shuffle in again. Oh, and that is the assault coordination, like I talked about, the possibility of drawing that. So zoom in a little bit. Let's see what's what. Right, so assault coordination into here is going to bring the two first SS units into the battle too. Right, there's no reserves, like I say, there's no support card. We can't play a combat tactic because he's isolated, so that's not going to happen. Yeah, so right at the bottom, isolated. Only if the defender's isolated, the attackers may draw 2 extra combat chits and disregard all attacker hits. So that's why they just go ahead and do it. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. So these two infantry, unfortunately they're going to lose their IPs because they're going to attack as well with assault coordination. Right, so what have we got in here? We do have a fair strength, don't we? So we've got 8, 11, 5 steps, 11 strength. So that doesn't change. They're mechanised units. They can't move or retreat because they're isolated. Yeah. Okay. So what did I say? 11. So it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 against 11. So it's going to be less than 1 in 1 odds, isn't it? Yeah. 6, 7, 8, 9 against 11. Yeah. So it's under 1 in 1. So any odds chits are going to go in our favour, I think. Chip pool wise, he's got 1, 2. Well, 3 units, but this is a bracket unit, so it doesn't count. So only 2 applicable units for combat tactics is 2 chip pools. 1 for the elite unit is 3 chip pools. And so I'll just put a 0 here to say that it's really, the odds are less than 1 in 1. Chip pools, what did I say? So 1, 2 units, 1 elite is 3. 1 for the assault coordination is 4, and then 2 extra combat chits because he's isolated. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 6. So 6 chip pools. Right. 6 chip pools, less than 1 to 1 odds. Okay, I'll go and get them. Okay. The reason I put this one up here, I was talking about the odds chits were going to go in our favour. So no, he doesn't have 7 to 1 odds. But look at the back of this one. It's a flank attack. So that's going to apply. 2 flank attacks he got, and they got that because of the assault coordination. Because this one was a one hex attack, so if he didn't get assault coordination, this would have been a D-1 with a 1 hex attack. So yeah, I got kind of lucky there, although these chits weren't any use to him. But yeah. And these actually were the 3 first chits that I drew, and these were the last 3. So yeah, D3, isn't it? Well, I think this is going to be nice and straightforward because I can't move. I can't retreat these units at all. It says a mechanised unit may not move or retreat. So it's got to sit there and take 3 hits, and we've got 3 units. Now, I'm right in saying we're going to lose that unit, aren't we? Because each unit's got to take a hit before I can't assign. Well, you know what? It doesn't matter because 1, 2. I can't save. One of them's going to die anyway. Yeah. So This one takes a hit. This one takes a hit. And then this one takes a hit and is eliminated. Oh dear. Yeah, that's right. There's the isolated marker. It was in the forest as well. Never got any forest shots. So yeah, that was horrible. Here was me trying to maybe get the guys back in supply. Got the 7th Armoured Division card in my hand, but air power is just, there's not enough air power cards early on, I don't think. I know I've just drawn one, but it's for the 3rd Corps and I want to bring them out, so I guess we just got to accept that these guys are in a lot of bother, aren't they? Right, that's another unit in the limited units box, so unfortunately there's 2 there, so they're going to jump up a victory point. So that's the first move up on victory points for a long time. So only up to 35, so I think we're okay still. So that was the 3 hits. No hits to the Germans. Well, the fact they were isolated, they weren't going to take any hits anyway. Right, and while I remember, let's get this shuffled in again. And so obviously there's no advance after combat because the unit stayed in the hex. Yeah, so that's going to be that. Now, was there anything? There was a couple of units that didn't actually move. Hang on. Yeah, a couple of units going to build. Oh, wait a minute. Well, he might bounce back to reserves actually. Well, he's going to build an IP. It's just this unit stacked to another unit, isn't it? Because he didn't do anything. All the rest made some kind of move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, what am I missing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the Piper unit. Yeah, this is the only last unit to consider. He didn't do anything, but he might be able to actually go back to the reserves. Give us a sec. Yeah, he was going to move back, yeah. He did not move or attack. He was not placed from the reserves. He's adjacent to an allied unit. He can trace reserve supply, and the removal of the unit would leave 2 steps in the hex, which is the case. Now, reserve supply is, yeah, that's fine. There's not any issues. So, yeah, so he's going to bounce back to the reserves. Don't know if that's clever for them or not. He was kind of stuck where he was, but on saying that, if they activated again, there'd be more chance of an attack going ahead here. But if they activate again, you still got to consider that as a reserve unit that could come along and actually, who knows, he could possibly appear in this hex across the river, couldn't he, to attack. So there is that. Right, okay, well that's it. And that was a support card. That's a German impulse over, or impulses. They had 2 there, didn't they? Didn't they? Yeah, they had moved the 67 Corps guys, yeah. Okay, I'll take a wee break for now, guys. I'll be back with an allied impulse sometime soon. Okay, cheers. Hi all. Right, just a couple of comments before I move on to the next allied impulse. I was just looking back in the previous recording. These were the 3 new cards that I drew. Just looked back in the video and you weren't really able to see them. I had things zoomed in and thought I was showing you the 3 new cards. But anyway, they're the 3 new cards that I drew. That's my hand complete. And obviously the important one was getting the 3rd Corps card. Yeah, I might make a wee comment there saying it'd been better showing you the cards rather than looking at them myself and with the camera zoomed in. However, okay. There was also, looks like I've made a little bit of mistake. Hang on. Yeah, there was a slight error with this last movement of this unit number 26. The 12th SS. He was in here, and I got him round to here, which, yes, it is 1 hex closer to his army objective. So my movement method 11. 1, 2, 3, 4 into there. But I didn't think about just crossing him across the river here. And I was kind of scratching my head wondering, actually one of the, was it this unit maybe moved out of this hex? So it was fully stacked at the time I looked, and maybe that's what threw me. The other thing I was worried about, had something came across that hex already, but it hadn't, and that's one thing I wanted to check on, hang on. Yeah, I don't know what I was really looking for there. It's no more than one unit may cross the given unbridged river hex side in a single activation, so I'm not quite sure what I was thinking there. I think what maybe threw me was that unit had moved, because it had moved before, but I should have still noticed there was a space in there. And they're the same distance away from the army objective, but this is westernmost on the compass. He's on his reduced side. Westernmost in his compass direction, so it should have been that hex he'd moved into rather than this one. So I think I was right. Right, and while we're up that neck of the woods, why did I put these units here? Why did I deploy them there? It's not a mistake, they're allowed to go there, but I just wished I'd put them here, because like I can't reach this hex, whereas if I deployed them there, which was still fine, it was still 3 away from a German unit on a supply road, then I could have moved them all into there. And that was the other thing I meant to check. When you're deploying, give me a second. Yeah, that was the one, and I forgot about this one before. When you're deploying, if I was deploying in a map edge hex, the distance is reduced to, you only need to be 2 hexes away from a German unit, don't you? Rather than 3. So in actual fact, I actually thought I could have deployed them in Liège, but that would overstack them. I could have still done that, deployed 2 of them in there and deployed 1, or would they all need to be deployed in the same hex? I think I could have done that, couldn't I? Actually, no, I couldn't. The way I'm reading the rules, multi-unit deployment, units from the same division entering as reserves in the same impulse must be placed in the same hex. So I guess I wouldn't have been able to do that at all. But like I say, why did I not deploy them there? Or I could have deployed them there, and then they could have reached with the next impulse they make. I could have supported that unit, because I don't really want that unit to be taken, because that hex is adjacent to the Meuse. So I really want a stronger defence in there. I know it's a city and all, but it's only one unit that's there. We really wanted to strengthen that hex, so that was rather daft. And I did think, well, could I be allowed to take that one back and just redeploy them? But I don't feel that would be. I think that would be pushing things a little bit, and not that well. Yeah, there is kind of some new information. Some of the units have moved in that, but it was just daft. It's my fault. I should have realising, yeah, I was talking about wanting to try and reach this hex and then also Liège, but that's all I needed to do was deploy them there, and then they're within range of there. So I'm going to be kicking myself if, well, 2 things happen. First of all, I draw the 7 core card to activate the units, or these units actually make an attack and actually force that unit to retreat and then advance into that hex. I'm going to be a bit gutted about that, but that's going to really spoil things for what I'm trying to do up there. Yeah, there's not an awful lot I can do about it. I wonder, is it wrong to take that move back? That was my last impulse, wasn't it? Deploying them. I just feel a bit bad about it in a way, because I feel like I'm just going to have to leave it, I think. We'll just have to hope that infantry unit can hold on itself, I think. Oh, fingers crossed. It's already been attacked, I think, once, and it didn't get budged, so Right, okay. Okay, so let's get on with an Allied impulse. Okay, so I feel like I should be playing the third core card and deploying the third core. Um, get them out as quick as we can. I mean, they shouldn't be getting deployed today. That's that. What's it? That pattern on the move card. So there's. Oops, I'm just dropping them on the floor. Hang on. So we've got 3 elite armoured units, 1 4 strength, the other 2 are 3 strength. 3 infantry units and the cavalry unit. Now they're all strategic, they've all got the S, so they can be deployed strategically, but I don't think that's really relevant. It might be if I want to split them up a little bit, I suppose. So where to put them? Well, the boundary line is there, so they're south. And, well, straight away I thought Bastogne, try and go for one of these units. Well, set my reserves in a position that enables me to go for the other units if we happen to get lucky and get the supplemental core card. We don't know about that, of course. There's not that many cards left, but I think we should give ourselves a chance of that before the end of the day. I mean, I think I'd probably like to take on the infantry unit first, but it's to the east and it's probably a better option to go for the unit west of Bastogne, I think. I don't know whether that matters or not. I think it's more likely I'm going to be able to surround him than I am him because of this infantry unit. There's not a gap in there to like get round about, whereas I could get up round about this. So that was my thinking. So how do I want to do it? I just noticed something really annoying, these detachment markers here. I can't deploy, well, with a normal deployment you can't deploy units adjacent to detachments or in detachments. With a strategic deployment, it doesn't mention that you can't deploy them. Actually, that's a point. It doesn't actually mention you can't deploy them in the actual detachment. Well, I think that's irrelevant anyway, because I need to be 5 hexes away, don't I? 1, 2, 3, 4. So even that is only 4 hexes away, so I wouldn't be able to deploy it. But I could deploy it adjacent to the detachment. At least it doesn't say you can't with that. But then that's going to mean I'm further away, isn't it? Yeah, the detachments are a pain, but I still feel I'm wanting to do this, so I'm thinking maybe here. And put the infantry here. 3 away from this German unit, not adjacent to detachment, on a supply road, they're in the core boundary. And we get to activate these guys again and we can move them into these 2 hexes and have a go at this. It's not going to get the guy surrounded, but it's a strong force. Now the cavalry unit, I'm not going to be able to find a hex to deploy him in where he can get there, because I think these are the only 2 hexes I'm going to be able to get to attack when they're going to be full. Okay, I'm not 100% sure where I want to put this guy, but I'm actually thinking if I'd be allowed to strategically deploy him there. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away from a German unit. It's in its core boundary, it's on a supply road. But it's adjacent to detachment, but it only talks about not in or adjacent to a hex occupied by a German detachment marker. That's only under the standard Allied reserve deployment rules. It doesn't mention anything about it in the strategic. Yeah, I'm going to put that guy there. Just strategically deploy him. Unless that's been missed from the rules that you can't do it adjacent to detachment as well, but like I say, it doesn't say that. And it's maybe not that big a deal, but I figure if I do activate these guys, then we get to remove detachments adjacent to units when we first activate them. We just get that out of the way. I mean, I've got this one in the way as well, which is it's not really relevant, that. It's more about getting these guys up here and hopefully having an attack here. Oh, let's just move on. Right. That's, mind you, I already regretted the last deployment I made. So maybe I should be making sure I've got exactly how I want it. Right, okay, I'm just going to leave it. It's maybe not the best placement, but I need to get on with the game. So we'll go with that. Okay, so that's my impulse over again. Nice short one again. We only get to draw one more card now. It could be quite interesting to see what that is though. And oops. Right, and after drawing this card, I've only got 2 more cards on the draw pile. So, right, let's try and show you the card this time. Ooh, 7 core. Was this not just what I said? That's 84th Infantry. Oh dear. So these guys up here that I deployed, and if I deployed them there, I would now be able to move them and get them, well, get 1 or 2 of them in to support that hex. And I can't. Well, I can move them into Liège, but I don't think that's the immediate danger. The immediate danger is the hex beside it. And that hex is adjacent to the Muse. One good thing about the card though, if you notice, it's got air power. So if I felt like I didn't want to use it for doing anything with the units, air power. Right, not quite sure what happened there. I managed to pause the video and carry on talking somehow. Right, so I was talking about if I just wanted to use a card for air power and maybe air supply. Well, I think these units are probably past. I'm not saying past caring about it, but because they lost a unit and then the other 2 got reduced, it just feels like it'd be a waste to use it on that now. But here's a thought: maybe get the ones in Bastogne back in supply, because when they're out of supply, they can't attack. And we're talking about bringing these units. Further down. These units up to attack this unit, and if they could support it, that would be even better. I mean, okay, that maybe requires, well, yeah, assault coordination. That's on this card too. So, I've got reinforced battles in my hand. You know, that could involve that stack as well. But they can't while they're out of supply. So, yeah, okay. So something else to think about, I suppose. Right, it's getting late, and I'd like to try and get a German impulse started at least. So, okay, so only 2 cards left in my draw pile, but there's still more cards in the draw pile than the discard pile with the Germans. So here we go. With the 3rd corps, right, on the first That's second SS division card, right. Well, yeah, that's as they're going. This is a primary. This is the support card. It does have an event consolidation, but these guys aren't on the board yet, are they? These are the ones. Yeah, because if your Grenadier unit was there last on the 20th, and these guys have just come in on the 21st, so this event's not going to happen because they can't consolidate any of the units. So the first command is activate all units in the core. Well, they're not on the board, so I think that's when you get a special rule to say it's time they were on the board, isn't it? I think. Yeah, within 9 German unit activations, right after all the 8 steps, there's an exception that says if no active units are on the map, but there are active units in the reserve units box, conduct a special activation to place active reserve units on the map per 9.41. So 9.41. When a German division or corps is activated by a division or corps card, all reserve units in that formation are active. Yeah. It's 9.42, I think I've looked at that before. I'm placing reserves on new arrive information. When the command card for German impulse results in the activation of units in a formation with no units on the map, check the reserve units box for any active units. If any, conduct a special activation to place those units on the map. In ascending order, place units one at a time in ascending numerical order, each in a hex meeting all the following criteria. Okay, let's see what's right. Well, that's what's going to happen. Okay, so actually, maybe I'll bring it down a bit, hang on. Okay, so here's the 3 units we want to deploy. This is selector number 1. Selector number 2 and 4. They're both from the same division though, so they're going to come in the same hex, but the Führer Grenadier unit, he's going to be deployed first. Now, it needs to be in a road hex, valid German supply, within 3 hexes of a supplied unit in the same army. Now, ideally it wants their division or their corps, but none of them are on the board yet. Yeah, so hang on. Okay, I just wanted to show this because I got a fright in my life. I thought this was a possible hex where they might deploy, because they're looking for 3 hexes within a unit in the same army. So that is, it's 3 away from an allied unit. And the reason, well, that hex can't trace supply for Germans, or let alone reserve. It needs to be reserve supply. But while I was deploying these units, I did have a thought about why not deploy these here, Grant, so that if there's a threat on R1, I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down into R1, and I can still get up here. And then I said to myself, oh no, that's fine, there's no threat on R1. And just when I'm looking at deploying the units, I thought, you're kidding me, they're not going to deploy there, are they? But fortunately, yeah, they can't trace supply from there, because this bridge is still Allied controlled. This is an Allied town and an Allied bridge there as well, so fortunately they can't deploy there. So I think the first hex I looked at was here, so that might still be a possibility, so let me have a look. Yeah, and I think the main reason I'm considering hexes round about here is if there's more than one hex that meets the requirements. I mean, there's maybe quite a few closer over near here, but it places a unit in a hex closest to a unit in the same core. Well, that's not possible until we get this first unit out. Then closest to the current objective hex for the unit's army. So the army objective marker's down here, so we want to consider as close as possible to that. So I get the feeling this is quite possibly the hex. Okay. In actual fact, there's 3 hexes here that are on. They're on a supply road. Well, there's a valid gym, a supply head. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Because it can come down into here and then up and away. So I thought these were all the same distance away, but this one is actually 1 hex closer than these two to the army objective. So I think it could, and again it's 3 away from allied unit or town. It's within 3 of a unit in the same army. So maybe there. Yeah, I'm not 100% confident, but I'm going to go with that one. So that's that one. Now the next 2 will be stacked together. And they want to be within 3 of that unit. Okay, at first I was just thinking, well, I'm sure it's going to be one of these 2 hexes because they're main. It doesn't, I don't know if that's a tiebreaker or not. It says, if more than 1 hex meets all requirements, place the unit in the hex closest to a unit in the same core. Oh, closest to a unit in the same core. Then closest to the current objective hex for the unit's army. So whether that is sort of setting a tiebreaker, but I never read that as closest. So then I thought, well, these were the other 2 hexes, so would it not just be in this hex and it's closest to? And then I thought, wait a minute, they can stack together, but this is a 3-step unit, so that's not, and they can't go there because that's only 2 away from. So I think it is going to be that hex because that's closest to a unit in the same core, and that's also as close as they can get to their army objective if that does come down to a tiebreaker. Now one of them could. No, I think they want to be stacked together, don't they? Because they're from the same. Yeah, place units of the same division, same hex if possible. So, yeah, I think that's right. Let's go with that. Okay, so that's that impulse over, but they've still got the support card, and I'm just looking at it, and this is what it is for the 2nd SS. So activate 2nd SS and 9th SS Panzer divisions of the 2nd SS Panzer Corps, and what do you know? That's the 3 2nd SS units there. So we're going to find out if I'm going to have regretted. The thing is, I've just drawn the card to move these units, but they have now drawn the card to activate this first. So in some ways, if they do manage to knock this guy out, then there was nothing I could do about it. But if they do it on a subsequent turn, then I can start kicking myself. So that's the 2nd SS. Where's the 9th SS then? Must be, yeah, that's the unit on its own. So they must be in here and here, I think. I can see right, anyway. So I'm going to activate them, yeah, okay. Right, so activating them, there's no units, there's no roadblocks for army objective markers to be reached. That's in this hex here, so. Right, let's see what's going to happen here. This could be interesting. Okay, We'll just move straight to movement methods 10 to 13. There's no infantry in this. None of the early moves can be made. Well, I don't think these 3 units aren't moving at all. That's selector number 1, 2 and 3. They cannot follow their arrows, they cannot get closer to their army objective. No, they cannot infiltrate, and they're already adjacent to an allied unit, so they're going to stay there. We're going to determine if there's going to be a combat, which there might well be. Right, and then, so this is unit 4 here, so there's no arrows in this hex. So closer to his army objective. Yeah, you can get 1 hex closer. Unfortunately, I had this move before. It's all woods up there, so it's 3 movement for him to move into there. That's 1 hex closer to his army objective. Well, that's him stuck, because this is a forest, this is in our woods hex, so. Okay, so that's him. And then 5 and 6 are in here. There's no arrows in here either. So unit number 5. That's similar case, isn't it? Oh, at least that's a road though this time. So, yeah, I think they're both going to go 1, 2, 3 into here, and then 4 into here. One, 2, 3 into this woods hex, and then 4 along the road into here, which is going to be adjacent to an allied unit, and it's 2 hexes closer to their army objective. Yeah. Okay. Right, I think that's right. Okay, there's a moment of truth then. See if these guys are going to attack. There's no support card. So, well, I suppose there's a consideration here as well now, isn't there? But this is the big one, eh? So it's 5, 10, is it 14? 14 against, so he's in a city, so 14 against 6. He's adjacent to, 14 against 6. It's not coming across the river there, is it? No. No, that's not. It's the next one, that was that. Oh, I'm really going to be annoyed if he knocks him out. 14 against 6. And then he's adjacent to supplied allied unit, so 14 against 7. Yeah, that's it. So it's 2 to 1 odds, so it's not a bad chance though. 2 to 1 odds. Is there any modifiers? Well, we're both elite, so that's not gonna. It's not an army card, and there's no support card, so there's not going to be any modifiers. So it's going to be 2 to 1 odds. Right, where's my? Right, my dice is there. My Friday box is gone. I was playing a bit of Friday recently. I left the box down the stair. Right, hang on a sec. Okay, we've got a Prelude Terraforming Mars box. Right, so 2 to 1 odds. Here we go, no modifiers. Oh, it's a 1. Sorry, that's maybe just off camera, isn't it? It's a 1. Cancel if only defender elite or only defender armor. Well, that's not the case because they're elite as well. Oh dear. Right, okay, so this is going to happen. Right, well, we've got 6 cards in our hand, so we might be able to chuck some stuff in. Okay, so it's going ahead. So I'm going to draw a combat tactic. I'm kind of hoping it's not assault coordination. Right, here we go. Reinforced battle. Oh, that's just bad. Oh no. This is going to shuffle in as well. Oh, that's going to bring in the first SS units, isn't it? Yeah, I don't think there's much to look up there because there's nothing else that can get adjacent. The 2 hexes are fully stacked. So, reinforced battle. Select one active or inactive stack that did not move or attack. Yeah, it may move, it may split up. So these guys are attacking, and now this whole stack's attacking. I mean, okay, these 2 are bracketed, but so this stack's going to join the battle, reinforcing. I mean, they are coming across the river right enough. Yeah, okay. Right, so let's work out what we'll got. What did I say? 14. And then, so this is 7 across the river, so it's another 3, so that's 17 to 3, but he gets doubled because he's in, so 17 to 6. They're just 1 short of getting a 3 to 1 there, so it's only 2 to 1 still, and so that's good. 2 to 1 odds. Now the chip pools they'd be getting would be 1, 2, 3, 4 non-bracketed units. Remember, don't get to count the bracketed units. So 4, that's 4 chip pools. 1 for elites, 5. 1 for the reinforced battle is 6. So 6 chip pools, 2 to 1 odds. Okay. Well, I think we want to put something into this, don't we? Now they've not played artillery. We can play artillery. Oh, we've got our core artillery as well. Now, the only other thing we could do is reinforced battle. If we had a unit within range. Again, if these 3 units were there, I could bring one of the units to reinforce that battle. But I can't reinforce with that because it needs to be the same. Needs to be no more than 3 strength. Oh, that's such a silly placement, Grant. Okay, well, engineers we can't play. We'll go. No, we've not got air power. That's just an event. Right, give me a sec. Okay, well, I definitely feel like I should play my core artillery. There's not really anything else I can play. No. It's artillery or reinforced battle, and I can't reinforce. Because I'm a fool. Yeah, just gonna have to go with that then. Okay. So 2 to 1 odds, 6 chip pools. Right, here we go. Well, what was I worried about? This was, it was kind of amazing really, but they never got nothing going for them there. Defender adjacent, this was the first 2 chits. In fact, they were the first 3 chits that I pulled. Defender adjacent, less than 3 to 1, and it's in a city. And then we've got our artillery we played, and both of them were bigger on the other side, but not any good to them. So no hits to us, 1 hit to them, And they didn't play assault coordination, did they? So they're going to have to take that hit. Alright enough, it could be either stack, couldn't it? Right, hang on. Right, so it's going to be a two-step unit, but then it's going to be one. These three are two-step units, and this is a two-step unit. But this has only got 4 steps in the hex, and this has got 6 steps in the hex. So it's going to be one of these guys. And it's going to be the lowest, the highest number, obviously. Yeah? Yeah, then, you know, with the highest letter number, yeah, that was a 3. So he takes the hit. Okay. Well, that's a relief anyway, although it didn't look like there was going to be any trouble really when we seen the result, but you know, could it go in a different way maybe? I don't know, it's tough. That's a tough side to take, isn't it? I think that's twice now they've just it's getting stuff round about it. They can't get enough units round about it, and that wasn't a bad shot because got to reinforce with that. So okay, let's move on. I think I need my bed now. So this was a possible check here. So what is it? Is it 8? 8, but it's getting halved across the river. So it's 4 against 3. So it is 1-to-1 odds with no. Actually, hang on. I need to clear this up first. Right, I'm going to shuffle this in first to my draw pile, and then I'm going to shuffle this in to the German draw pile. I'll be back in a sec. Okay, that's him shuffled in. So we've got 1-to-1 odds with no modifiers, yeah. 8, right, that's unlikely. The right bit. Cancel less than 3-1, yeah. Okay. So that's not happening. Okay, well, that was good. We survived there. I would have been really annoyed with myself. But I'm still not able to get the units up to support that, and I probably still do want to do something up there. However, right, okay, that's their impulse over. That was all the units made a move, didn't they? Yeah, so nothing else to do there. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to tidy things up and call it a night, and we'll be back with an allied impulse sometime soon, guys. Okay, cheers for now.